What does it take to build a horror game? The best ones are more than just their jump scares, challenging us with twisted stories, expertly crafted mechanics, and iconic villains that haunt us long after their time on our screens. In this podcast, we meet the developers behind the horror games who mastermind our fear. From beloved classics to hotly anticipated titles, we dive into the inspiration behind horror game making, what frightens those who frighten us, and how developers transform nightmares into reality. Welcome to Talking Terror, the official podcast of the Horror Game Awards.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Mr. Dan McDonald, executive producer on Directive 8-20, and having a nice day so far.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And I love talking about our games. I love talking about our team. I love talking about what we do. So this is easy.
Yeah, I just think it's going to be so nice getting to see people get hands-on, get into it. Like literally have a press day dedicated to people enjoying your game.
Yeah, I mean, we've been working on this a long time. So, finally getting in people's hands. There's only a few more weeks now before it actually comes out and everyone gets to play it. I can't believe it's through it.
Yeah.
It just feels great.
So more excitement than anxiety.
I don't really have any anxiety about it because we've done so much good work. Because we've given ourselves extra time. And I know some of the fans are upset and annoyed about that. They want it now. Well, we wanted to make sure it was as good as it could be, and so we took longer. And then we reviewed it and iterated it, and then you said, okay, we want to take longer. You can even auto again. So I think it's going to be stable. I think it's no honey and content. I think it's going to probably. It's the most cohesive game they've done. The most well-rounded in bags, the best features and stuff. So I'm confident they've got.
How's it been stepping into the science fiction side of horror? Because we've had so many different subgenres with the other Supermassive Games. This is the first all-out spaceship horror it feels. So how's it been working into that?
A fun challenge. For all of the others, they're all obviously set on Earth and set in different time periods and stuff and different locations, so they all look different. But it's earthly. You get that reference quite easily and stuff. Whereas all of this is we've had to take it out of our imagination, and we look at different TV series and shows and movies and other games for reference. But it's all our own ideas and stuff. Everything's brand new. All the character designs, that's brand new. It's not denim shirts. It's all sci-fi stuff. There's the environment, everything must be different. There's no trees in space, or there is one tree on our ship, but that's just sci-fi. The animations, because of the kind of horror we're doing, we were able to. It's kind of given ourselves permission to go there. So even the animators have to do new things. It's not just a monster stalking you. It's tentacles and things flowing around and moving in a way. So every step is new for us, different. We always knew we were going to go to space. So we've been thinking about this and working on it in the background for a long time.
So does that present a different challenge? Because obviously if you're doing mythology and kind of folktales, there's kind of a lot more wiggle room, whereas sci-fi, especially sort of hard sci-fi, there's more kind of you have to get certain things right and certain things wrong. Was that a challenge?
Yeah, it's. I mean, there's bloopers and stuff for people to find throughout, but even is there gravity on your ship, and how do you deal with that stuff? And so we've tried to be true to life and realistic, but also it's fantastical. We're going, we can't yet go to other planets, and maybe we will never. But so you have to accept that there's a fantastic element to it, but we still want to keep it grounded and as realistic as we can. But it means we can do stuff with the monster and horror and stuff. But it's also still close to stuff you feel on kind of Earth, and your ship is a T-pad in space with definitely an upside, vacuum that's going to pull you. That's actually quite similar to being in a submarine, or I'm going to butcher the word there. Fatalobia or whatever it is, the thing where you're in the ocean and you see the space beneath you, and that's a real tangible horror. In space is quite similar to that, so we can, even though it's fantastic, we can still reference it. We know that your world.
Has it been kind of fun or difficult to avoid mirroring too much things like The Thing, the Code Blood Paradox, or Dead Space 2, Callisto Protocol. Like when you do horror in space, there tends to be a lot of through lines through these. Has it been hard to go just to have that and make this for me, you guys?
I don't know. It's not hard. It's a challenge. You know, when designers come to you with an idea, and then that's in the other game, or that's in the other movie, or TV show. Not even just space things. You know, stuff where you aim, and we don't do it. Right? You know, you play in things you know and experience. But yeah, I think you've always got to take your own twist on things. And I think we've done that successfully with, you know, even the other things we've done. You know, there's plenty of ghost shit horror movies, and you know, and so we've done our own take on that. You twisted it with, you know, how they hallucinate and stuff like that. And the same with our vampires in the desert. You know, what they actually are. You know, compared to just being
it's my favourite one. I love high slashes, not just a slash.
Yeah. So indeed, I think there's the cool thing about that for you there is our creative director of that one was the game director on Slashes. So you know, this is you know, we've taken a long journey together. A lot of things that he wanted to do in that he's now able to do in this game, which actually includes the threat and exploration and that kind of stuff. Which something he's been into for years, and we're pushing and doing those things. But yeah, there also links to the previous games. So you've always got that, and might be referenced, and there's some specific, really strong links that everyone should get and see, especially if they know games. There's no need to play our other games. That's
Naturally.
Yeah. As I'm to base, you know, when you're watching a Marvel movie and they have a computer screen with a bunch of names, usually, well, I know those names. I've read those comics, and I get a big joy out of it. About minting these names, I don't understand those mints, but it gives you something extra. There's something else for the super fans that have been with us that whole day.
So, I suppose, like, one of the things I want to know, obviously, kind of when you like horror game. So what kind of reactions are you at that one from people out when you're like seeing people play the game aside from the screens?
Yeah, I mean this is a very easy question for me. My favourite thing, we love the Dr. Spears. We love the Spears, Dr. Spears. And in fact, I was at the theatre the other night watching. I've been twice. I saw Paranormal Activity, and then I saw it.
It's so good, isn't it?
No spoilers to the fans. And like literally, I came out of it the next day. I wanted to talk to my creative director, Will, about it, but he was going to see it again. He saw it a couple of days ago, last week, I think. And so finally, he'd see it, so now we could talk about it. But you know, that sort of shared experience, and I was at the Woman in Black in touring the UK, and I think it's just finished now. And then we all jumped, and then some woman at the front let out a really high-pitched scream, and then we're all laughing. No one's laughing at her. It's that tension release. So you get that sort of laughter, and yeah. So we all love the jump scares, but the really easy answer for me is I want to make people cry. I want to make them laugh, but I want to make people cry. And it's that emotion. You know, I want you to care about our characters, and so that you know that's how I think we're most scared. If you care about the characters, they do believable things. They're not going in there with the lights off, you know, or separating. Then they should, of course, they have to separate. They've got stuff to do. But they're doing believable things. They've got interesting characters that you like and you empathise with, so that when they're in real situations of horror, you fear that, you're scared for them. But then also that moment of, all right, you've messed up. That other character dies. I want you to be horrified by that. But then it's the reaction of the other characters to see it. Yeah, they're upset. And you know, and I think we've got a few moments in this where I've sat in a review room with my directors and I've sat in front of my eyes out. And I'm not making a big thing now. I'm being quiet in the corner, like, I mean, my wife was lost because I try anything, but it's that moment kind of care, you know, and you're not crying because it won't hurt you. You're crying for the character you're seeing in that session. You know, and then of course there's all the funny stuff. You know, there's moments, especially between two of our characters, Anders and Cooper. They have an interesting, you know, history. They know each other, and they've got like kind of little hand gesture they do to each other, and they're funny jokes. The way they talk to each other, and it's just, you know, you're going to enjoy those conversations. So yeah, there's all kinds of emotions that I want. Of course, we want the jokes. Yes, you want to make them cry out of the stare, but I want to make them cry as well.
It's a bit, well, there's a specific moment in the demo that definitely made me cry, but not necessarily tears of like emotion. But I think you know which one I mean. Is the towards the end. Can we say?
Yeah, go for it.
The big garaging bit. I thought that was so good. But yeah, you kind of feel that. You think you're not going to go all the way with it, and then you do. Like I love that kind of.
So did it actually happen for you?
Yeah, because I'm terrible with it, so I was like, oh no, what do I do? And then my eye got gouged out. Which I thought was like a really nice reference to like stuff like Dead Space 2, but still in his own lane as well. Like I just thought I really liked it. That's a bit cool.
Yeah, and we've always focused a lot on the gore. You know, we want to be as visual. It's weird. It's a new space should be because I want to make, you know, effectively adult school with his adult relationships and you know, these professionals or whether they're lovers or illicit story, much more professional. But then I also want to show visceral gore. You know, it isn't you know, it isn't some of the other games like Doom or Dead Space where you're controlling weapons, he's splattering the kills across the screen. But these are moments of real like, oh my god, what just happened? You know, that's, you know, you can imagine the things that are chasing you down, like, you know, the size of them, squishing a character's head or beating their chest open, or, you know, them being hit and impaled on a bit of scenery, or you know, so again, the new environment you've got in space, there's jagged metal and sharp, especially as, you know, the ship's been destroyed, all kinds of danger when you keep putting it, and you know, rip the characters apart. And so we've always put care and attention on that, and it's as well as hurting them and seeing them die. It's just fun to see you light die in their eyes, okay, as they die. And then, like we were saying to you a moment ago about, you know, how your characters, the players cry, seeing emotion on the other characters, the horror, shock, or, you know, they've lost their true mate, or in Food Slaves, they've lost a loved one. Yes, these moments are great fun to build.
We all as horror fans love a good death animation and not even just death, because obviously speaking back to the demo, we survived. I think we still got that like moment of like really visceral, and as someone who's had, you know, like I've had sharp things on my eye, like I didn't feel it was an anesthetic, but it does make you go.
Yeah. I mean, so I do wear contact lenses and not got brass on today, but the idea of putting stuff in my eyes before I found I could do it, I'm like, no, is it? And so the idea of someone putting something in your eye, oh, you know, that's we can all understand. We're all human. We've all touched our eyes. Ooh, no thanks.
It's so simple. I can just kind of like the core of body holes through you, bro. It's like stuff on the inside and the outside, stuff on the outside going in that you don't want it to. Did you have to get less fun with that when you were doing these like fleshy creature where it's that monster, we don't know much about it, we have seen a DNA space.
Yeah, I think, again, that's one of the big things for us going to space, and one of our big focuses was body horror, and, you know, referencing a thing, and you know, of course we love the Dead Space series and version things as well, but, and event-wise as well, you know, fantastic.
Preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
That's all right.
But, you know, getting to, you know, really go there, and you know, there's a lot of human, there's a lot of there, it's not an earthly, it's not earthly. What does it know? What is it taking from us when it's exploring us with European us, and you know, even the message system, you know, is it interacting with that? Are we starting to see the, you know, odd messages?
I was messaging on there. I didn't even think that a creature could be messages about.
Yeah. So there's all kinds of ways that it can play with it. But then, yeah, of course, the body horror, it's again, spacey kind of gives us permission to go there. You see it really wild, really, you know, imagine tentacle and sort of weird parts of stuff. But it's adult, it's visual, it's nasty, but it's a lot of fun. And we get to watch the actors writhing around on the floor. You know, these are Hollywood names, right? Shana, she's, you know, based Brianna Young, absolute star quality, absolute brilliant. And she's writhing around on the floor and screaming, or even getting really worked up and emotional from being in the scene with one of the actors dying. You know, if I was seeing that, so yeah.
You're there like, more.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I've seen it in the back being quite like, this is gold. This is absolute gold. Yeah, or even like I say, I've sat there crying watching it pieces because they put so much into it. They put all of their energy into, you know, they're professional. That's the, you know, you've seen it with the Horror Game Awards. The games industry is taken seriously by Hollywood and the TV shows and stuff now. You know, we get Cyberpunk, it's, you know, we all get big names now. They know us. Whether they're players or not, their girlfriend, their boyfriend, and they even their parents are. You know, they know what our issue is, and they want to be part of it. It's a beautiful place to be.
I'm wondering whether, like, particularly on a choice-based game, and obviously it would go one way, and there's the depth and then the emotion that comes after that, or it would go the other way, and like someone doesn't die, so you don't know, like how easy or hard it is with like switch gears emotionally as well. And
Oh god, yeah.
and I guess for you as and for the like writing the game, like if you want to list emotion when you know that not every player will necessarily go the same path, so they won't have the same emotional response. So how that all kind of works when it's got so many branches to it.
Yeah. First of all, the actors on set and how we manage that process. So we work with Alita Collins. She's from the theatre world. She works a lot with Kenneth Branagh, and she's directed her own plays, and she does ballet recently. She's a choreographer, but she's part of that world. So she knows a lot of the actors and actresses, whether she knows them or knows the same people what they know, and then they get on set and they have a good chat and they natter about it, and we'll do so and so and stuff. So she's part of that world. The performance, the casting directing reviews, Jessica Rowe is huge and knows everyone and stuff. And so we get, so we've got this great set of people on the set, and then we have, my creative directors on set in the background. We've got designers on set in the background. We've got the flow fully worked out. Our performance director really is ready to brief them. So, okay, this is what we're doing now. And now we're going to do all that and then move forward. And now we're going to go back in time. Remember what I told you 20 minutes ago when you're doing this? Now you're going to do the version where you die, or where that other person's died. And so, sometimes we might show them some of the footage they've just done, or, give them some of the sounds, or show them some of the concept and, the models that we've built and stuff. But to put them back in that place and really try and make sure. But then also, that we have played the tricks about this. You can't just keep with characters or the players in a high tension moment. You have to bring them back down again. So something happens and then the story moves on. We'll come back to the fact that I was upset and we'll reference that later. I've got a job to do now. I have to move on and plug this gap or do what everyone needs to do. So, and that's the first thing from the actors and performance side and how we manage it. We have a dialect coach on set, making sure the accents are consistent with our designers and stuff. And then, for the players, they're 100% going to get a different experience. But that's why we've got the turning point system now. You can get through to your ending and they get a really quite bleak ending, but now you can easily get to a different version of that. And you can turn back the clock, make some different choices, pass those QTs or hide from that hunter and get through. And then hopefully, whether you get to a hopeful ending, then they survive, then they escape, or whether you think you've got to a hopeful ending, and there's a minute with you, there's a whole bunch of, and that's the great thing. The turning points allows you to get to that view quite easily and explore. I used to collect loads of DVDs, and I always wanted to pay the extra for the special issues so that I could get the deleted scenes. I want to experience it all. And especially being on the set and seeing the great stuff you design and shoot, I want you all to experience it as well. So, you will get a different experience, but you could get to those other experiences really quite easily.
Is that kind of brought on from the QUARRY system, where you have kind of the lives, where you can have a battery?
It's kind of different. There's been a little bit of nervousness when we first started doing this, that we're pulling back the curtain and we're showing you all of the branching. Or kind of doesn't. It shows you the main branching, and there's actually a whole bunch of variation, which because it's so very variable that we can't even display it for. You have it would have to be a 3D flowchart, with layers and stuff, which would just make nonsense. It was kind of the desire, and we know that a lot of our fans play through and try and beat everyone alive in their first one, and we know how frustrating that could be. They may lose someone, even to the point of rage quit. We've all done it. Something's gone wrong in a game, and we've all done it. And so, and we've been quite mean about it in the past. As soon as you make a choice or something bad happens, we are saving the games. You can't turn off the console and get back there quick enough. Just kind of. But we've made this huge game, this huge branching thing. We want to enable you to experience it. I think the stuff that we did with the customer, Frankenstein experimenting with that. We've done a whole bunch of because that's a different team. So we had a whole bunch of different work going on to just try and make this as good as it possibly can be. Just giving you the tools to play our game.
Is it for you? Are you kind of the view though, like for the first playthrough, people should try and experience them organically and just see what happens, or start rewinding straight away?
So my mantra that I've been saying this for years and having years of arguments with some of my team, you support us, you book our game, let them play it how they want to play it. And so interestingly, we've done a load of research, a load of user testing, and we've done, of course, mock reviews, everything that we games collectors do. And we've had people say to us, I will never use it. 10 minutes later, oh no, I'm using it. And so we do reward players if they want to play, the classic way and have it without. If they play with it off, and don't turn it on. Don't turn it on and don't use it. Don't turn it on. You get an achievement for it or a trophy or whatever.
No,
So
well, there we go.
So I think there will be people that want to just get that done first, and they will play through it and they'll have that original experience. They can still use the selling point system to look at Archer. They just can't rewind. And then there will be people that will be like, nope, I want to see it all now. I want to rewind that. I don't want Stafford or Young or whoever to die, or Idle. I want them to survive. I want that to be my implementation. And that's the power. Do what you want. I'm interested to see what my wife's actually bringing back. We always play a game, choose and comes out together. I mean, I've only been played as a play those old kind of rich air doing it, but how does she look? Well, that's my experience right now. See what she has.
If your wife is anything like mine, like my wife got really excited about killing everyone in Until Dawn. So I don't know what.
It's interesting because having worked in there, and everyone's got opinions about the characters, especially Until Dawn, about the characters, and how you write them, make them likable, or make them likable later. And Ruth, is it Ashley? Whichever character in Until Dawn everyone hates, it's my favourite character. If you know what's coming and some of the performances that can be there and that she can get to, then you feel quite different. And so I've sat there watching my wife do stuff and I'm like, no, don't do that. Because I want her to get to eat stuff. And she actually, when she played House of Ashes, she spoilers began this out of anyway. The really interesting moment between the two soldiers, Sunuri and Ceti. Really cool moment. She played it in the right way, certain way that they had a really special moment together. And it's a betrayal because them is everything, and they hate each other. And she got there first time, and I was just so pleased and sat there. Because again, that's one of those moments I'm like, oh yeah, this is guy, this is brilliant. And so we've got a lot of that in that series. Real bonus of you've made a choice. If you want to kill him, if you want to see really brilliant deaths and them getting eviscerated and ripped apart, you do you. But if you want to get through there and change the relationships and stuff and see the good endings, as it were, the different endings.
I mean, you put all that work into all the gore and the body horror, so
You're trying not to go to see. You're supporting the deaths.
So that's great. We have reviews specifically for that. Specifically, just that. Right, that's not good enough. Needs to be no curve. I was a little bit disappointed. There's partly the death you were just talking about. Not death, the EP you talking about. We have a moment in Little Hells there. Daniel gets cut in the eye, and at one point we had an eye on the stick, and the two reviewed it without me, and they didn't like it, so they took it out. And I was really upset about it because it was brilliant.
Justice for the eye stick.
I want to see your eyeball on the stick. But yeah, obviously it's really quite nasty. We love it.
And love that. And as our final note, that's fabulous. Where can we find Directive 8020? When's it out? What's to look forward to? Thank you so much for chatting to us. And the question. There you go.
So I mean, it's been a pleasure to speak to you both. The game comes out on the 12th of May, so weeks from now. It's out on Steam, it's going to be on PlayStation, and it's out on Xbox. You can wishlist it now, you can pre-order it now, I think, on our platforms. We get a great response. You've seen the game and played the game today. Hopefully you both loved it. We're getting, I think our publishing team are doing a fantastic job of showing what we're doing. I couldn't be prouder of what the team have done and how it looks and how it sounds. I just can't wait for it to get Hasler.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much for talking to us.
Cool. Thank you.
It's been a lot of
And
fun.
you can't wait to play properly.
Awesome.
This has been Talking Terror, the official podcast of the Horror Game Awards. Check out the links in the description for more info on where to follow our guests in order to support them and keep up to date with their work. Talking Terror, the Horror Game Awards, and all our associated showcases air on YouTube, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel to stay in the know. Don't forget to like, share, and rate this podcast, and we'll see you again next time. Thanks for listening.